Initially in high school, I actually took a wide range of subjects, so just a really random spread. So there was no real specialization, right? So, for example, I took geography, and then I took biology, and I took physics, and not many people take bio and physics, right? So I was just choosing things at random. And then eventually on Info Day, I came by and saw this topic because I was already doing geography, so it's kind of related to environment as well. So I sat in, and there was an alumni guest speaker, and she said that when she was choosing programs, she was also quite clueless. And she heard that this program, because it incorporates many different, right? It's an interdisciplinary subject, so that means it requires perspectives from many different disciplines. And that was kind of the perspective that I had as well. Like I'm taking so many different random subjects, so maybe it will help with, what I'm doing here. So that's why I chose this subject.
Well, for me, like I've always been interested in environmental stuff, but I never actually really considered having environmental stuff for actual studying, more it's side projects, because when you think of protecting environment, ecology, sustainability, you think of storing your trash into different containers and going out and plant trees. All these stuff seems for me to be more like activism and things you can't do for a living. But for I found environment EVMT, it's sort of a compromise between environmental and sustainability, and between that and businesses catering to both the interests of ecology as well as in a more practical sense those of the economy and society as a whole. And we have to look at all these aspects, and that's just what got me interested. And in a more practical sense, there's also two more points. One is that for EVMT you have a lot of different paths to choose from. For example, you could go down more of a sciencey path, study biology. I know a lot of people would go down a business path and do environmental consulting. For me, I wanted to go and study environmental psychology, and you could do all of that with EVMT. And finally, I feel like EVMT has a it's very flexible, if I can say that.
Yeah, so for me, it might be a little similar to you guys. I both study a wide range of subjects, and it's really interested in environment. And I actually wanted to study environment-related subjects for university when I was in high school. And I stumbled upon EVMT, which is interesting because they, as you said, incorporate some business courses or business elements into the whole curriculum as well. And I think that in terms of job prospects, it might be a little more compared to other environment related subjects, it might be a little more advantageous when it comes to finding a job. So I thought this might be a really good way to make something I like into a career, and maybe potentially help me discover more about the environment.
And one more point to add is that EVMT has always had a smaller roster. Every year we only have 20, 30 students, and for the vast majority of university subjects, I feel like there's a lot of people studying it. You don't really get to know anyone that well. But for us, I'm not sure if I would have known that before I picked the subject. But being in EVMT, I can say that's definitely one of the best things about it, is that you can get to know everyone in here.
EVMT is usually have a very small cohort, kind of small cohort at least. And we have a lot of activities like the study trip as well as some orientation activities. So we are, most of us are really tightly knit, and we sort of know each other since we came into EVMT. So it really fosters environments that we help each other out when we need, and maybe in the future work together. And it's really friendly, actually.
For the more day-to-day university life, you will also get to be with all your EVMT peers, because for half the time for sustainability, environment, half the subjects we study, we all study together and do group projects together, and so you'll get to know each other throughout the school year really well. And to add on to what I said about the study trips and stuff, it's basically exclusive study trip for all EVMT students, and it's dirt cheap, and highly recommended to you go, because you'll get to know everyone very well at the end of them.
The relationship with the senior students as well is quite good, because they often provide you with support Yeah, also in terms of joining a society, like we have our own society in EVMT, and you'll get to know a lot of different previous cabinets, and they'll give you advice and support you, and it's a good way to build connection, I think. So that's also what I like about the EVMT community. Within my first year, there's two courses that particularly that I liked particularly. So that was one about extreme weather and climate change, and there was this other one. It's more interesting. It's about science, environment, and how like everything, how human civilization like kind of developed. And I actually really like that because normally on YouTube I like to explore many random topics, and that the course about how human civilization developed from the beginning it echoed with me because I learned a lot from just watching those videos, and I can finally apply it in an academic setting. And yeah, that's why I found it interesting.
Actually, I agree with you with the climate change course because I took it as well. I think this course really like helped me deepen my understanding in climate and climate change, as I was already kind of interested in like climate or weather when I was in high school. So this course really like on one hand I already know like some of the topics taught, and on the other hand I learned something new that I didn't know before, and I really liked that course.
For me, I really liked an environmental course about like it's more on laboratory work than all the other courses. Is environmental laboratory. You get to like do experiments concerning different environmental stuff. For example, like for air pollution, you could like look at particulate matter in UST, look at the water quality, and you could do measure all of these yourself. And like the experiments, I feel like were like really hands-on and really like got me to have a first-hand experience of all these things, because usually you can just hear about them in lectures and like all these technical terms I don't really know what they're talking about and like what it actually even looks like in real life. But in that course I could interact with all of those.
Now, during the summer semester, I am actually working with the Global Learning Office as an exchange buddy. So I get to meet a lot of exchange people all over from all over the world and learn about sort of how how university life is like all around us, as well as meet a lot of new people and help them adjust, learn more about Hong Kong and HKUST in general. So I think it's a really interesting experience, and I get to socialize and meet a lot of people and have a lot of fun experiences with them.
For me, I enjoyed the study trip that we took to Hangzhou last year. So that's experience that all freshman students can have. So basically the whole cohort goes to a trip together and learns about, in our case, we saw different examples of environmental like technology. For example, in the wastewater plants, like you can see how the actual systems work. And I think that helped me realize that like these things are not only in the books, like you can make it possible, and that should be one of our main goals in the coming few decades. So yeah.
For me, I would also like to talk about study trip, but rather a different one, because I went to a study trip in spring in Malaysia. So like got to see how like environmental knowledge and sustainability practices are actually applied in like more, I said, realistic settings. For example, like how the government and businesses will actually implement them, and why they will actually want to implement these sustainability practices. For example, like the wetland damming system, which the government in Malaysia used in order to make the lake cleaner and more cleaner and with more wildlife species there, and they actually used that in order to make it like kind of a tourist attraction and also improve the overall like quality of life in the area. And it's very interesting to see how we could actually apply what we learned into real life.
First of all, you don't need to really stress about your grades, and because like the exam is over already, and like you guys can chill for a little bit first. And EVMT is really really nice major if you are really interested in like the environment and environment related work. So it is really like a good opportunity for you to further deepen your knowledge in this area.
To join environment EVMT, I would recommend you be at least a little interested in environmental stuff. Like if you don't, I think it might be a bit hard for you. But if you do, and we at EVMT very much welcome you.
From my perspective, I would say if you took geography or any related, like any for any curriculum, you find it much easier because many of the concepts of environment you learn previously in geography high school courses. But overall, same thing as Echo said. I think you shouldn't really worry because no amount of worrying can improve your grades. So just relax and have a bit of fun before university starts. And remember, if you don't get in, it's fine. Like it's not the end of the world. You still have many other paths. But if you do have a choice, you should go for EVMT.